Hey everybody, I'm JimClassic and you are watching Geekin It. And December is here. And that means Christmas is right around the corner. And that also means the Bumblebee movie will be here soon as well. I still have a bunch of figures I'm really anxious to talk about and review. I'm not going to be able to review all of them at this point. Some of them I'm just going to put directly onto my Tumblr blog and just bypass altogether. There's a few other videos, non-toy related, that I do want to do. So I've got a few things that I want to do for December, and yeah, I am running a little bit out of time. So I'm going to produce what I can when I can. So let's just get started with the Figma Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess Zelda. And I gotta say, this is a figure I have been wanting to talk about for quite a long time. I got this figure as a birthday present back in May. So it's been a while. I haven't even opened this thing up yet. It's just been here in toy limbo, waiting for me to get around to reviewing it. And so that's what I'm going to do. Princess Zelda. Okay? Well, hey, let's get talking about it, okay?
Figma 318 comes with Princess Zelda, of course, a bow, silver arrow, a rapier, 8 sets of hands, a swappable alternative face, display stand with armature, and finally, an additional wrist. And believe me, you're probably going to need it. And we'll get into the details of the accessories later. Let's start with the sculpting of Princess Zelda. Okay, so this is a beautiful figure. I don't own a lot of Figma figures, but the 3 that I do own are all top quality. There is so much sculpting detail, from Zelda's armored shoulder pads, her necklace and crown, the flow of her hair, and the subtle designs on her gloves and the patterns on her dress. I really am blown away by all this cool stuff. Zelda's paint deco is also pretty outstanding. The gold paint is shimmery, the matte finish on the dress, both the pink and the white, are really nice, and she's got some lovely brown hair, although personally I do prefer her as a blonde. And the front of her dress is fantastic, with a wonderful painted Triforce Hylian banner. It really is nice to see. For articulation of the figure, well, I gotta say, the articulation is good, but there are 1 or 2 issues that I am concerned about. First off, Zelda does have a good range of motion from the head and neck, and even the hair has its own little bit of movement to it. The shoulders are pretty much universal. They're on like these, universal hinges and stuff. Of course, we have really good elbow bend. We do have universal wrist swivels. We do have, it's not exactly a waist swivel, it's more like an upper bust swivel, but the way the dress is, it's supposed to be one big flowing piece. I guess the bust line is the only real part where the figure could have afforded to move around. Yes, Princess Zelda does have hips, she has knees, she does have ankle movement and toe bends. However, the dress does kind of hinder any and all movement below the waist. There is some articulation in the dress, though. It's broken up into 3 parts. The front banner piece, which is mostly static, and the left and right parts of the dress are separate pieces, and they can move independently, so it does allow the dress to flare out a bit, and you can spread the legs a little bit as a result, and be able to pose the figure. Although the upper part of the dress is solid, softer plastic, so the dress can only spread out so much. Alright, so let's just move on to Zelda's accessories. For starters, be very careful with them. every item packaged with Princess Zelda is pretty much guaranteed to break if you're not careful. Zelda's 8 swappable hands can be easily lost, and sometimes the wrist joints can pop out as well. Do not lose them. The spare face isn't much different from the default face. The default face is emotionless and stern, and the second face just has a slight smirk. Come on. I know Princess Zelda is usually a pretty stoic character, but couldn't Figma had sculpted a face with some emotion and personality? I mean, how about, like, the evil possessed Zelda at the end of the game? That would have been really cool. Spoilers, guys. Sorry. Moving on to the stand, well, I mean, it works enough. The armature hinge is a little loose, but, Zelda with the full dress can pretty much stand all on her own without the stand. This would be more for running or jumping poses. However, with the hinge being loose, jumping is going to be a little bit difficult. I'm sure it can be solved with a screwdriver, but it counts as a quality issue, I guess. Weapons. So, starting off with the rapier, though it is wonderfully painted, it's a very solid plastic with very little give. And of course, it's also very, very thin, so definitely watch out for breakage. It disassembles at the handle, and it allows to be slipped into the gripper hand. And Zelda holds it rather well, and she actually looks good with it. I have to say, it's pretty darn cool. The bow is really a lovely pearlescent white. It's very ornate, kind of a bit flamboyant and over the top, and got all that cool Hyrulean jazz and stuff. And as bows go, I guess it looks a little full of itself. It does separate at the handle, allowing it to slip into another gripper hand. And again, Zelda holds it pretty darn well. The last item is the silver arrow. And wow, that thing is just ornate and over the top. It's also pearlescent white, and it is just ridiculously spiky. There is some yellow paint apps at the ends of each of the spikes, and this plastic is also very thin, very rigid, and again, could be highly breakable as well. The arrow can be held by the right hand, by one of the swappable right hands, specifically made to hold it. However, the center and thinnest spike is made to slip between the thumb and pointer finger, and though it actually holds pretty well, all that really needs to happen is for Princess Zelda to fall, and that arrow could just easily break, so please just be careful with it.
So moving on to comparisons. Well, let's start with Figma Skyward Sword Link. He does look pretty cool there. Let's move on to Figma Metroid Samus. And she's definitely a tall order, even without the stand. I mean, the stand's only like maybe a centimeter or two. So Samus is a pretty tall one. Let's move on to not World of Nintendo for once, but the precursor to World of Nintendo, Goldie Toys 5-inch Mario. Also, Goldie Toys 5-inch Princess Peach. And the Neandroid possible KO Kirby. Now, I've said this before, and I will say it again, I do have a mild, unofficial Smash Brothers collection. I mean, this is just a very small part of it. I actually have quite a few Nintendo toys, and I really should get them all out and display them one of these days again. I used to, but, I had to put them all away. But yeah, This is how Twilight Princess Zelda stacks in with, other Nintendo licensed figures. Obviously, there's only 3 of them here, which are Figma, and the other 3 are licensed to different toy companies. They all deserve to share a display stand with each other.
My final thoughts. Princess Zelda is a fantastic figure. She's an elegant and beautiful interpretation of the Hylian royalty. Even though the only Figma Link I own is from the Skyward Sword version, they still look great together. Aside from the items possibly being breakable, I have only one other gripe, and that is, where's Ganondorf? I mean, Figma produced only one Princess Zelda and 3 different versions of Link from 3 different Zelda games. But where's Ganondorf? Where's Ganon? Who are Link and Zelda going to fight? I mean, Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf all represent pieces of the Triforce. Zelda is wisdom, Link is courage, Ganondorf is power. Where the heck is Ganondorf? Who am I going to display these 2 with? World of Nintendo Ganondorf? No, I don't even know why I own that figure. It's awful, and I love World of Nintendo toys, okay? But come on, Figma, stop wasting time, and just go ahead and make him. Well, I think that's all I got to say about Figma Princess Zelda. This is a long overdue review, and I really like the figure. She's top quality. It's beautiful. She looks great on a display stand. She looks great with my pseudo Smash Brothers collection. If you can afford her, I would definitely get her. I'm JimClassic, and you've been watching Geekin' It.